Welcome to Fresh Talk News Channel. Today, we bring you the latest news update. After high expectations before his return to office, most Americans now say the president has actually made the economy worse. As he nears the end of his first 100 days in office, President Donald Trump is facing growing opposition to his ambitious and controversial agenda. His approval rating is in decline, there's majority opposition to his major initiatives, and many believe his administration is trying to avoid complying with federal court orders, all according to a Washington Post ABC News Ipsos poll. No president in modern times has moved more swiftly than Trump to reshape so many parts of government, and even outside institutions. His moves range from shrinking the executive branch, to shaking up the global economic order, cracking down on illegal immigration, and challenging leading universities. These initiatives have caused significant disruption, affecting individuals, institutions, and financial markets, and have led to a flurry of lawsuits, which Trump continues to contest. There are very few bright spots for the president in this new survey. None of his policies tested in the poll enjoy majority support. Trump's overall approval rating has dropped even further compared to 2 months ago. According to the poll, just 39% of American adults approve of the way Trump is handling his job, while 55% disapprove, including 44% who disapprove strongly. Back in February, those numbers were slightly better at 45% approval and 53% disapproval. Among registered voters, the fall is even sharper. In February, 48% gave him positive marks versus 51% negative. Today, only 42% are positive, while 55% are negative, a shift from a net negative of 3 points to a net negative of 13 points. Trump's approval rating at the 100-day mark is lower than any past president, whether in their first or second terms. For comparison, at a similar point in their first terms, 42% approved of Trump, while 52% approved of President Joe Biden. Most presidents enjoy a honeymoon period during their first few months, only to see ratings decline later in the first year. But Trump seems to be an exception. Notably, Trump has seen a 10-point decline among white Americans without a college degree, a key part of his coalition. He's also down 13 points among adults under 30, and 11 points among people who didn't vote in November. Despite all this, Trump is still holding on to strong support from his Republican base, especially among those who believe that federal judges are interfering with his authority. On one major issue, however, most Americans believe Trump's tariffs will create more manufacturing jobs, as he promised. Even though they also think tariffs will raise prices, the findings suggest that Trump may have overinterpreted his victory over former Vice President Kamala Harris, pushing policies that the public isn't happy about. In broad strokes, the judgment so far is, a majority believe Trump has exceeded his authority, a majority say the economy has gotten worse, and about half say that U.S. leadership in the world has become weaker. The economy, once seen as a strength for Trump, has now become a major source of public disapproval. Even with all these negative findings, Democrats aren't exactly celebrating. The poll shows Americans trust Trump more than congressional Democrats when it comes to solving the country's major problems. 37% for Trump, 30% for Democrats, while another 30% trust neither. Voters also see the Democratic Party as slightly more out of touch with everyday Americans compared to Trump or the Republican Party. There's a sharp partisan divide throughout the survey. More than 9 in 10 Democrats disapprove of Trump's job performance. Meanwhile, over 8 in 10 Republicans approve. However, 15% of Republicans now give him negative marks, slightly higher than 8 years ago, when only 10% disapproved at the 100-day mark. In last November's election, Trump captured 94% of Republican votes, according to exit polls. Among independents, a group Trump narrowly lost in November, the numbers are even worse. Only 33% approve, while 58% disapprove. Among independents who lean Republican, Trump's approval rating has dropped from 76% to 63% since February. On specific issues, over 60% disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy, foreign relations, tariffs, and financial markets. Smaller majorities disapprove of his management of the federal government and how he looks out for average Americans. Even on immigration, his signature issue, 53% disapprove of his handling, although some elements of his immigration policies still have support, most Americans say Trump is going too far by trying to expand presidential power, cutting the federal workforce, shutting down agencies, and targeting political opponents. 51% say he's gone too far in trying to end diversity efforts in government and private workplaces. 48% say he's gone too far in deporting undocumented immigrants. 3 in 4 Americans oppose cuts to medical research funding. 7 in 10 oppose the government trying to control private universities. 2 in 3 oppose efforts to end birthright citizenship. Over 6 in 10 oppose shutting down the education department and cutting foreign aid for food and health services. On the controversial issue of deporting international students who criticize U.S. policies in the Middle East, about 6 in 10 oppose it. When it comes to sending suspected gang members to El Salvador prisons without trial, Americans are split. 51% oppose, 47% support. One of the biggest clashes has been with Harvard University. The administration tried to impose restrictions, while Harvard sued, claiming a violation of constitutional rights. The public largely sides with Harvard. About 2 in 3 Americans support the university in this battle. Trump's re-election victory was heavily based on immigration and economic issues, while the economy was once a strong point for him. That's no longer the case today. Only 39% approve of Trump's economic management, while 61% disapprove, his worst rating yet. For context, before the tariffs were announced 2 months ago, his economic rating was 45% positive and 53% negative. Now, his disapproval is the highest ever recorded in a post-ABC poll, and his approval is the lowest. His 39% approval on the economy is only 2 points higher than President Biden's rating of 37% from roughly a year ago. Overall, more than 7 in 10 Americans say the economy is either not so good or poor, unchanged from February. A majority, 53% say the economy has worsened since Trump took office in January. Back in December, 62% of swing state voters believed Trump would handle the economy well. Almost half thought his presidency would improve their finances. Today, about half say their financial situation is the same, 4 in 10 say they are worse off, and only 1 in 10 say they are better off. Looking ahead, over 7 in 10 Americans believe Trump's policies will cause a short-term recession, including 51% of Republicans. Long-term, fewer than 3 in 10 think Trump's policies will strengthen the U.S. economy. Americans increasingly view Trump as a president expanding his authority and ignoring the rule of law. Nearly half, 49%, say he's moving the country away from its founding principles. Over 6 in 10 say his administration doesn't respect the rule of law. More than half say he's not protecting Americans' rights and freedoms. 6 in 10 say Trump has gone beyond his authority, and most believe these actions are not justified. When it comes to clashing with federal judges, the public mostly sides with the judges. 2 in 3 say judges should be able to block policies if they believe they could cause harm or are illegal. Over 6 in 10 believe judges are trying to enforce legal limits on presidential power. By contrast, only about 1 in 3 believe federal judges are interfering with Trump's authority. Democrats and independents mostly side with the judges. Republicans tend to side with the president. 53% say judges should not block policies, and about 2/3 believe judges are trying to interfere with Trump's authority. The post-ABC Ipsos poll was conducted online between April 18 and April 22, with 2,464 U.S. adults participating. The margin of error is plus or minus 2 percentage points. Thanks for watching Fresh Talk News Channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more news and updates.